So GCSE pass rates for English and maths have fallen to their lowest level in more than a decade. Just 58.3% of pupils passed maths this year, while English dropped to 60.2%. Can I just say, that's mad, isn't it? Because we're in England. It's the worst result since 2004. The decline is driven by record numbers of 17-year-olds retaking exams and failing. I mean, that's even worse. Flipping, huh? With fewer than 1 in 5 securing a pass. Could it be anything to do with slang terms like skibbity and delulu being added to the dictionary? Are we basically in verbal decline? But are kids maybe just getting thicker? Are the exams getting harder? Could it be that maybe we've got large numbers of children in Britain now who don't speak English? Joining me now to debate this is Neil Hamilton, former Conservative and UKIP politician, and political strategist Pablo O'Hana. Thank you very much, chaps. Neil, I'll start with you. What's going on then? Are kids getting thicker?
No, I think it's unlikely there's some kind of genetic defect that's suddenly developed since I was in school. But I do think that we now live in a culture of mediocrity and decline. And, kids are no longer told that you're useless and you need to shape up, because that will hurt their feelings, and God forbid you should ever do that. Also we got a culture in which kids today don't count because they've got calculators. They can't do mental arithmetic, which we did in my day. I know that's an immensely long time ago when I was in school. And also with social media and emails, nobody writes formal letters anymore, so grammar and punctuation and so on go out of the window. And so I think all these basic skills to make yourself comprehensible have really gone by the board. And teachers are encouraged by the kind of standards that they're taught in teacher training colleges and so on, not to go against the tide of this, but in fact to encourage it. Because whereas in my day we were encouraged to look upwards, now we look downwards.
OK, and Pablo, as far as I understand it anyway, roughly 40% of kids failed English, GCSE. Well, how can that even be possible?
Well, I think the real problem isn't some sort of fluctuating exam results. The real problem is our education structure. It is really narrow. It's a narrow academic sort of motorway
English
that forces everyone through the same sort of two toll booths as English and maths. And it traps students through this kind of like endless research treadmill. I had to do my maths GCSE 4 times before I passed.
I can get that. By the way, can I just say, I do have some, so I really do struggle with numbers. I don't read them well on a page. They get all jumbled up and things like that. So I am very sympathetic towards that. And to an extent...
that's a system failure, right? That's not the pupils.
Not really. I mean...
That's why we wonder why so many disengage, but we should be allowing interest to drive efforts. So we should let, their interests and their passions lead. Of course, you've got to keep the standards. Everyone needs basic literacy and maths. We know that. But beyond that, give them room to sort of build an education and ultimately a life that fits who they are and the jobs that exist. We can't just keep sort of shoving them into these two groups and expecting everyone to excel in them.
Look, Neil, I'll bring you in now. I can hear some people shouting at their television screens going that, some people have got dyslexia and all that. Not 40% of kids. I mean, this is... What can be a possible excuse for 40% of children failing English?
Of course. Can it possibly be that the system is failing them and the culture which the system perpetuates? I went to an old-fashioned state grammar school, and all right, it was only sort of 10–15% of kids who went to those schools. But instead of looking up to the schools like the one I went to, which were very good, I grew up in a working-class area in the mining valleys of South Wales, and so I didn't have any kind of sort of Eton background, but I learned the basic skills of how to get on in life through that school, and that's what we should be trying to do for kids today. Of course, basic skills in English and numeracy are absolutely vital to success in the world. Yes, all right, you've got all the modern technology, which in informal situations means you can get by without being able to do all these calculations yourself, or even make yourself comprehensible, because with artificial intelligence now you can do anything. But if you're to make your own way in the world, I think you do need these basics,
yeah.
and that's where we're failing.
OK. There is also, clearly, changes in the use of language. We mentioned some of the words previously, they're slang words, really, that are now very, very commonly used. And I hear it, especially walking around London, for example, people who are just basically talking, it's pretty much like code, as far as I can tell. I think we've got a couple of examples of some of this guff.
What in the Ohio Sigma is that? I'm the Rizzler. Her aura's at like 100. Go bussin'. You are proper sus. That slaps. What's your vibe check? Sheesh, the cap, no cap? No cap. Simp.
Yeah, now they've failed their English GCSE. At what point do we have to blame the teachers, Pablo? This might be quite an uncomfortable thing for you on the left here, but, you know, aren't the teachers to blame here?
I think it's the curriculum. I think we have to have a curriculum that allows our students to flourish. And, you know, I work really closely with a charity that works to fix the education gap for kids that are struggling with the curriculum. And there are so many. I mean, I was one of them, as I've said before, that really just, I couldn't get into the curriculum. I've done fine. I now work with senior politicians. I've worked on a presidential campaign. I run a business. That's great for me. I managed to kind of carve a career despite doing pretty poorly in my GCSEs and A-levels. But we've got to find a way in which teachers can deliver lessons and curriculum that actually works across all different students' interests. Just forcing kids into these two, you know, focusing on English, focusing on maths, focusing on, I mean, Ofsted, for example, scrap Ofsted, they're no use to anybody. Ditch this obsession with exams and give students real projects. Allow them to focus on what they're good at, engage in meaningful
Well, what they're good at is claiming
that
benefits a
covers
lot of the time,
basics.
Pablo, isn't it? I mean, we've got huge record numbers of young people coming out of school claiming benefits, and at some point they're going to have to learn that it's not the world's fault, it's theirs. And, you know, this is it. You can't fail your GCSEs, fail English, not bother to speak the language of the country that you're in, and then come out of school and sit on your backside and claim benefits. At some point, it's not the curriculum, it's the kids, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah, you should be Education Secretary, Patrick. I think that's absolutely right. And we don't do kids any favours, you know, by indulging these characteristics which are going to get in the way of them getting on in life. Of course, I know plenty of people who've made their way in life without having any real formal education or discipline at school. If you're a real entrepreneur, you'll get through anyway. But most kids are not like that, and we do a great disservice, so particularly to those who are at the lower end of the income scale, and their families don't have the opportunities that they give them of the middle class families. We really need to make up for the privations that they suffer in life economically, and our system, I think, is desperately failing those people most of all.
All right, well, look, both of you, thank you very, very much. A range of views there, Pablo and Neil, tremendous stuff. And look, I will say, if you got your GCSE results today, I'd hope it went well for you. If it didn't go well for you, it is not the end of the world. I will just say this. No one asks to see your GCSE results, ever. They might for like the next 2 years. That's it. No one ever does. You'll go for a job, no one will ever ask you, what did you get in your GCSEs? And if it makes you feel better, my worst one was biology, and when it said name the parts of the plants, I just called them like Clive and Derek, and I flunked out of that. And I nearly said I've done all right, but I think the jury's out on that. Thank you very much. Right, OK. Hey, tell you what, if you really have nosedived your GCSEs,